Jeremy first.
Welcome back, everyone, to the podcast, the live show, I should say, not the podcast. It comes out podcast later on. But welcome to the Facebook live show, the post-Origin wrap. So we promise after this episode is done, no more Origin talk for the remainder of the year. So if you want to get anything off your chest, Origin related, please drop them in the comments and we'll let Adam finish his finger-licking good combo. We're going to throw straight to Jez first, who's riding on a high after Bradman Best was a shining light last night.
Yeah, it was fun viewing. You know, no one says dead rubber anymore, especially after we've won. So we've avoided the sweep, which is great. It was really cool to see Bradman have a good game. It was the last thing I wanted was for him to have a dud, but it goes to show what happens when you have good players around you. They can create you space and you're not getting ball right on the line. So it was, from a Newcastle perspective, him and Safidi were really solid. So that was fun to watch.
Yeah, look, I know he's still finishing off his dinner, late night dinner, but I'm going to quickly throw to him. And I just want to know if he wants to issue a public apology to Bradman Best.
I feel like I'm getting used to doing these public apologies. I've done a few this year. First of all, apologies for the delay, guys. It's not my fault. There was a 9 to 10 minute wait on Zinger patties, and I was stuck in a drive-through. Didn't get to have lunch. So it's a busy man. But look, I never questioned Bradman's attack ever. Like, you know, I've always known his attacking ability. I thought he needed to change up his attack a bit, and I've always kind of. In attack, so I kind of have bagged out of his attack, I guess. But I bagged his ability to throw a ball, and I'll say that again. He only ever has a flick pass on him. He never has a pass. But his tip-ons last night to the Fox was superb, actually. Twice he put him away. So one he scored off, and then there was another one as well. He put him away. They seemed to cover. But I thought it was brilliant. And
you all right?
I don't know. There was a bit of gas coming back up. But, yeah, look, I just jumped on my brother's bandwagon. I actually haven't got a problem with Bradman Best, but Michael bags him out all the time. So I'm just going to jump on and bag him and say it's Michael's fault that I bag. No, not really. Defensively, they didn't test him. But a couple of times he did get tested, he turned up. But as Jeremy said, it's about having the players outside you and having him, Cody Walker, and the Fox on the same side brought out the best of all of them because Cody went out and played that knockout style football.
Murray was huge.
And Murray was huge everywhere. But my dog wants my zinger, by the way. But Cody Walker went out and played that knockout style of football, and there was no pressure on him. Like, there's no stress. And everyone's talking about how good he was, and I thought Cody Walker was superb. But let's see if he can do that under pressure. Let's see if he could have done that in a deciding game because we've seen him struggle with that over the years. But, look, Bradman, I'm sorry. Look, I dare say the Knights aren't wanting to get rid of him anymore.
No, as I said to you last night, his stocks have gone up. Not his socks, because they're well low. His stocks have gone up.
Yeah, he's definitely gone up. The Knights probably won't be able to afford him now. So, or they'll put him on a massive contract and he'll still have no one around him. But that try he scored was an absolutely brilliant ball from Walker. I'm struggling, guys. I've got half a zinger in me.
You continue to eat. We'll carry the fort while you go. So
let me smash
it's all good. Perfect timing, just as the dog was about to go. Look, I thought last night it was great to see our third team actually enter the Origin series, and the first time we've ever seen that because we haven't. Where's this New South Wales team been the whole time? It was great to see some actual attacking football players playing in their actual positions and who are in form, which was great to see. It was just really refreshing to see. And look, personally, and we'll touch on this down the track of the show tonight, but I thought I wasn't that keen on last night's game. I was more so to see how some of these younger players and that would go for the stead moving forward, like your Bradman Best and things like that. So it was good to see him shine. And straight away, you just automatically think he's going to be a career Origin player. Like you just feel like that's going to be the case because he's only so young. The world's at his feet now. That could be the switch. We all said last week it could be the switch that if it goes bad, that's Knight season will be gone. This has the ability to bring not just the Knights, but Bradman Best to that next level that we've all said in the past that he could reach, and he was sort of on shaky path there. But New South Wales as a whole, as I said, it was good to see him finally turn up. It has taken a while, so Jez is on father duties as well, by the way, guys. So if he does get up and go at some point, it's the baby monitor's gone off, but he's all good. He just wants to keep everything silent. But yeah, and I thought for Queensland, they were clearly already in party mode. I don't think they really cared, to be honest, about last night. But Jez, your summary of last night's game as a whole?
Picking players in their positions was huge. So having informed players rather than Penrith players or players that are mates with each other made a humongous difference. Not just playing the Panthers style of attack either, being able to attack on both sides from New South Wales was huge. I think Queensland lacked a lot of gusto, which was a little bit disappointing. I think they had a really good chance to sweep, and it just goes to show how tough that really is. So sweeps are few and far between. So, yeah, look, with the hype of the game, I didn't feel it. But I think also, I don't know if I'm living under a rock, but it wasn't advertised as much either because it was a dead rubber. I know that we all started to get a lot of messages through around ticket sales, like either the night of or the night before. But even just on general television or even on the radio, I didn't hear much advertisement around it. So it was a little bit of, oh, that's right, Origin's on tonight. But it was exciting to see. I think Queensland really missed Reece Walsh, and it goes to show having a quality fullback, whether it's Ponga or Walsh, to bring that X factor. I think Brimson had an assist in one line break and just threw just the wrong pass, and it went to ground. And that was pretty much his involvement. So, yeah, they lacked a little bit of gusto, which I think, yeah, they would be kicking themselves that they had a really good opportunity to sweep New South Wales.
Yeah, he was quiet. I thought, in a way, Munster was quite quiet as well. He's had a quiet series, I thought. So I thought for his standards, he'd probably be a little bit disappointed with that. I just think, as we said, New South Wales did turn it on, and Queensland, I feel like, was just down that little notch. I know they say they love it, but Adams unmuted himself. He's ready to fire away with his thoughts of last night.
Yeah, firstly, if we don't get
the belt, is ready to go.
If we don't get a KFC sponsor out of this, I'm definitely disappointed. That's for sure. But
yeah,
look, just what Jeremy touched on. I actually got a message off my brother. I didn't realise that Brimson was out there and probably till the 70th minute. He had about as much effect on the game as what Gutho did. But look, moving on from Gutho's performance, yeah, you're right. They missed Walsh big time. The X factor wasn't there in that regard. It's always hard, one, to win a series 3-0, but two, to turn up after you've already celebrated winning a series. We know they celebrated pretty hard. Going into that game last night for Queensland players, especially because a lot of them are in top teams that are a big chance of going on to go well in the competition, they would have been worried about injury and stuff, so they just wouldn't have wanted to exert their energy too much and, risk that injury. And that's honestly what the game was played like. It was played like a lackluster game from Queensland. New South Wales, obviously, like I said, they threw that ball around. They played a bit of an ad-lib footy that won't work in games 1 or 2 or won't work in a deciding game. So my thoughts on the game are it's going to create a false illusion of where New South Wales are as a team. And although they got the win, there's still a lot of work to be done next year to be able to compete with that Queensland team, how easily they dominated. Breaking down some of the key points of the game, it was good Yo was on the bench and playing as a middle forward. When he come on, his first stint he come on, he played really well. But in the start of the second half there, he got back to a bit of that ball playing and kind of took Moses and Walker out of the game again. I don't think Yo is an Origin player, in my opinion. And if he does, he's got to play that middle forward role. He'll keep his spot because he's the Penrith captain. They've won back-to-back comps, so that's how it's going to work. But, not really much else to say about the game. It was just hard to get up for. It was good to watch him win, but it was nothing. It was a nothing game. Like Jeremy touched on the crowd, 2-for-1 offers. As I said to you boys before the game, they're lucky it was school holidays because it was full of kids. There was 75,000 there, so 10,000 less than the capacity. And, it was just disappointing. I don't know. It just meant nothing, to be honest. It really.
I think it goes to show the importance of Queensland and New South Wales having game 1 and 2. Like, let's stop this ridiculousness of having an interstate game for game 1. Like, it's so that's what brings that lackluster feeling to it. Is if that was a decider in New South Wales, that's probably the biggest game in the last couple of years. Like, that's huge. Yeah. But with it being that dead rubber per se, but having it already decided, but game one not even being in New South Wales or Queensland that's where we've gone wrong. That's where the NRL's gone wrong. They're never going to get rid of game 3. It brings in too much money. It is the pinnacle of our game. There are people that do, watch every single game, every single minute of Origin, no matter if the series is already decided. So it just has to go back to New South Wales and Queensland having games 1 and 2. I think it should be. I don't like these Melbourne Adelaide games. Like it takes away from what it's about.
Here's an idea for you. What about if game 1 and 2 are set every year with a rotation? So New South Wales get game 1, Queensland get game 2 the year after, like it used to be. Game 3 is obviously set for whoever had game 1. In the event we have a dead rubber, why don't then we look at playing it elsewhere and get the crowds in? Because
would we still get the crowd though? Would people still show up if it was a dead rubber and it was in Adelaide?
There was roughly, I reckon, there was 50 or 60,000 tickets sold last night at the start of the series when they went on sale because Newcastle was on the game, and obviously do promotions then. But so they were still obviously sold 15,000 more tickets through those promos. But you got to think the amount of people that didn't turn up as well. They probably said were there.
Yeah,
because there was.
It is an exhibition, and it's the best players in the comp, so it deserves to have the crowd.
Yeah, 100%. But look at last year, for example. NRL grand final sales last year went on sale late, and it's always going to sell out. The grand final, we've had Melbourne play the Cowboys in a grand final, Brisbane play, sorry, not Melbourne, Brisbane and the Cowboys, Melbourne and Brisbane, obviously. But it's just something to look at because you can essentially auction it off to the highest bidder then because, look, the only reason the games go to Melbourne or Adelaide or Perth is because of the money, and that's the only reason they do it.
Yep.
So if they want the money, chase it then. But I don't know. It's, I hate Origin. I hate Origin last night. I hate Origin. I'm done with it.
We've skipped ahead one step, but I like where we're going here. And I was going to bring up some of the post comments today. The page heated up a bit throughout the day after I put this post up. There was a lot of opinions. So guys, in the comments, please drop your opinions on the matter as well. And here's your chance to fire back at me. I know there was a few having their say, so bring it on. I've been whacked from pillar to post a bit today, but I love it. Everyone's getting involved, having their say. It's fantastic what the page encourages. So I just feel like, and me and Jeremy have touched on it already in this, is that we just felt like the lead up and last night, it just felt so flat. Like I was sitting there, I didn't cheer one try. And that's nothing against my passion for the Blues because I'm one of the most passionate fans you'll ever see.
I did because Bradman was crashing over.
Yeah.
Go Bradman.
It just didn't get me because I was already thinking, firstly, I was thinking, where's this been all series? This is a totally different Blues. I was actually pissing me off in that way. I was thinking the series is already one and done. There's just, I feel like in a way I was just worried about the para players getting injured. I didn't want that to happen. And I was just thinking, I know there's the crowd that was there, but at the same time, as Adam said, there's a lot of kids out there. There was a lot of that crowd when it's there like that. It echoes a lot. So I know at times of it sounded pretty decent. It sounded like a decent crowd, but I still think it was a bit flat because I've been there before in Origin times where it's a really good game and I was there when Hodgkinson scored that try and it literally shook. The stadium shook. It just wasn't that atmosphere for mine. It wasn't like an Origin game. It felt like finals week 1 where you've got 8th against first in the old system and you sort of know first there we'll go to it, we're watching it, but that's sort of where it is. So just for me it just didn't sit right. It's made me question, do we even need this game 3 if it's a dead rubber scenario? Because as I said, it means we can focus on the NRL season a few rounds quicker and earlier than we normally do. There's no risks of stars getting injured for that third game for the run home. I just feel like our country with sport loves to copy the Americanization of things a lot with sport. We see all the American stuff. In basketball, if someone's won a 7-game series already after 4 games, then it's over. There's no more. It's done because there's no real point. I just feel like there's a time where we start to modernize this series. I know everyone talks about the history of it, and we start to move to that. I know it's a revenue raiser. I get all that. But there's got to be a balance there, I feel. Jez, I know you've had your say already, but should there be that game 3 scenario if there's dead rubbers in the future?
I'm going to answer your question. If I was and God willing, I still might be. I'm only 32. If I was one of the players getting my debut jersey, I was given the New South Wales jersey for Game 3, I would want everyone to be there. I would still put the same amount of value on that jersey. Putting myself in Bradman Best's shoes last night, like making an Origin debut, even though the series is decided, I'm still going to go out there and I'm going to prove myself and prove to other people that I deserve to be there. So I would like to think that the state gets behind me. I'd like to think that the fans are still there. I think there was one of the comments that was around, that's a very, modern or woke way of thinking. If it's done, then, whatever, we don't need it. I still think there's value in a Game 3. I still think there's value in seeing the best players play against each other. It's the pinnacle of our sport, and it's the advertisement of our sport. If there was a fight or if there was, something, the Foxes try was spectacular. That's going to be in the highlight reels. People aren't going to remember that was Game 3 of a dead series. They're going to remember that fantastic solo try where he did a chip chase and looked like Billy Slater from many years ago. So I think rather than, it still gives us the opportunity to watch some really great rugby league is what I'm trying to get at. I think we could probably move it to the end of the season, not like the whole Origin series, not just the Game 3. But it takes away that opportunity if it is a dead rubber for the injuries. I know it shortens the preseason a little bit, and we spoke about it around like people needing surgeries and stuff at the end. But I think there is value of putting rep season at the end of the NRL season.
Adam,
did I answer your question, or did I just go on a big? Did I go on an rant then, or what? Was that?
You did. I like it, but we did promise you last week that you were going to get a lot more rants this week because you complained off air that you didn't get enough game time.
Yeah, I was on the bench.
You're a Gutho
last week.
You felt like a bit like Gutho, so we're letting you have a lot more of the floor this week. Ads, just have the final say. Don't have too much of a say, just a little bit, please.
Okay, yeah. Well, like I said last week, I'm a big fan of the NBA system, NHL system, how they do it all over there with the series and not playing it. But like I said, it's a moneymaker, isn't it? It doesn't matter what they get. It's about TV rights, and that's all they care about. As for having at the end of the year, yeah, like I said, they'll rule the best players out with surgeries and stuff, and they'll probably come down to it. Players don't care about their $30,000 payment per game at the end of the year. They just want to go on an off-season trip and get to Bali to get more tattoos and help with villages. But look, the idea I raised last week was to play it all in 2 weeks and build a festival of football around that in the 2 weeks, get some more games involved. Obviously, State of Origin being your main focus, and that means no NRL for 2 weeks. But you got the under-19s game on tonight, make that a 3-game series, make the women's a 3-game series, under-19s women's a 3-game series. I know a lot of their players will be out, but get New Zealand playing Tonga or someone like that.
I was going to say, have the Pacific Islands playing each other. That's a great idea.
Yeah. I know, and this would obviously create a bit of a problem as well because obviously a lot of Indigenous players play for New South Wales, Queensland, but you could even bring the Indigenous All-Stars game into that kind of fold as well, or do something around that. This a festival of football across the 2 weeks and no NRL games. Look, it obviously still risks injuries, but it's fair as well because the competition currently isn't fair the way the draw's done.
Yeah, I agree. And on the final bit on this matter is, can we just please fix up if someone wins the second game, let's say it's Queensland like they did this series, can they please hold the shield up at Suncorp after that game? Because that just felt so flat and weird that they were holding it up last night after already winning the series and not being able to do it in front of your home ground. So I just want that to be fixed up as well. But let's get on to...
Just quickly before we move on from Origin there, New South Wales going ahead 24-14 in the under-19s game. So looks like he might actually win one that matters. Everyone,
that's all we care about. Under-19s, let's go.
Yeah, bring it on, boys.
Future. We are the future.
Stay away from Ethan Saunders as well. I heard he's horrible. Clubs don't go near him. Look, I want to ask our player of the series and the player that we think has played their last game of Origin football. So I'll go first. Let you boys have a bit of thinking time. I've got my player of the series being Lindsay Collins. I just thought he was phenomenal off the bench and just came up with a lot of big plays throughout the series. He just seemed to always be there and not just be a number, but be a quality number as well in so many situations. I just thought he was phenomenal. in a Queensland side who had a lot of good players. So that's saying something. The player I think has played his last Origin game of his career, and I don't know if Jez will like me for this one. Tyson Frizzell. I think New South Wales is in a situation now where they've got a lot of good young players coming through. Keon Matangi, I thought, was one of our best last night, and I think with other players coming through like Hamole Olakwatu from Manly, things like that, we've got some good Liam Martins around there still for a while. I think it's going to be hard for Frizzell to come back into it. Adam Martin as well. So, Jez, do you want this one next?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. I'm going to go next because I know.
Okay.
So I'm going to get in there. Look, player of the series. I thought Lindsay Collins was superb as well. I was surprised when Cotter got it. I think Reece Walsh probably cost himself by calling Pat Carrigan what he called Pat Carrigan. He probably cost himself, but
Pat Carrigan didn't deserve that.
Series. Look, while we're talking, I did mention if we can go an unplayer of the series, I reckon one of Queensland's worst players was Munster. He had a quiet game 1 and a quiet game 3. We've seen Munster pretty much win Origin series on his own back before. You just see him do it, but not that he'll never play again. But to me, look,
is he back on the dream?
He must be.
Is he back on? He must be.
That's the best. That's a Munster we all know and love. But
yeah,
as for the last Origin, look, as obviously I mentioned the comment, I don't think LOI's ever seen in the Origin arena again. Hopefully, but if you want to go from last night's team, Teddy, he's got to be done. Like, let's not sugarcoat shit. Really, like he had a terrible series. He did nothing last night but make one break, which was an absolute terrible read by Daly Cherry Evans, and he went straight through and obviously found the pass, and he still managed to fall into the tackle of the fullback as he passed the ball. I thought that was Gutho's moment to come on with 10 minutes ago when he did that, but I think that was Teddy's swan song. He doesn't play Origin again next year. And, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. I feel like Jeremy was going to take Teddy.
Has he stolen yours?
Yeah. Player of the series, Lindsay Collins. I'm just going to echo the choir here. But him in game 2 just kept popping up in the right spot. And then the shot that he put on Teddy early in the game last night was fantastic. That's what State of Origin's about.
He gave him some.
His club captain in the back. Oh, that was fantastic. That's what you want. So, yeah, Lindsay Collins, I was surprised that he didn't get even a mention.
I heard when he smashed him, you saw him say something to him. By all reports, he actually said to him, this is because we want Joey Manu at fullback, but it hasn't been confirmed. But
I think it's not only rep you're retiring from. But so he's definitely my player of the series. I agree with Munster. He was pretty quiet. And yeah, my last player, I like that LOI has been mentioned because he was one of them. I don't see the way that he acted poorly. Like, I know it's a new generation thing to, block all the haters, whatever. Like, I'm driven by hate, but it's a really taxing way to live. So I think he's done. And yeah, Teddy, that was his last one. And it wasn't until you just mentioned it, Joel, that Paul Frizz, I think that's it for him. He's there's just so many other players that are stepping up and have so many more years ahead of them. Which is a shame because I really liked Tyson Frizzell. I thought he held his own. He was still a very good player and had a pretty good series. But, yeah, you're right. I think that might be it for him, sadly.
Can I add Fox to the list as well?
Yeah, can we quickly talk about the Fox as I prepare our next part of the segment? I need to get a graphic up. But go on a rant, please, about Josh Adokar because I feel like what he did last night has offset just how poor he's been this year. Not just at an Origin level, but at a club level.
The thing is, he's tried to do that same play for the Bulldogs about 10 times this year, maybe 5 times. He tried to do it against Parramatta in 2 separate games where he tried to kick for himself when he didn't regather it or didn't get there. So, practice makes perfect. You're bound to get one eventually. And he probably didn't need to do it. The Melbourne Josh Adokar would have ran around him with ease anyway without having to do that kick. So, he's not... I don't know. I feel like the player he was at Melbourne, he'll never be the same player because of what was around him. Like, he wasn't good at the Tigers. He's not good at the Bulldogs. And look, you saw how good he was for Australia last year, but look what he had around him against what he was playing for. So he's just, I'm not going to say he's past it, because this is going to sound really harsh for a player that's done everything in the game, but maybe he just never had it. Maybe he was never the player we thought he was.
His speed, his speed maybe hid a few things.
Well, he did, and the team he was around, like, we've seen Craig Bellamy do some freakish things with average players over the year. Ado Carr went down there as a fringe first-grade player, and Craig Bellamy turned him into a superstar. Maybe we need to stop questioning what Craig Bellamy does to individual players and start looking at what he does to the teams. You know, like they say, he turns players into shit into good players, but maybe his team works that well. Like, you see one player come in, like, through Origin, like, if they back in the day lost Slater and they had to bring someone into fullback, it didn't matter who they put there; they did the job, didn't they? If they
Nick Meaney is the player you're looking for there. He was average. He goes down to Melbourne, gets in the right system, has the right players around him.
Yeah, you nailed the word. It's a system. It's a system and the structures they run that made Ado Carr a better player. So I think he's done as well. And if Tahoe, just going off Josh's comment there, if Tahoe continues to play Origin, he really needs to learn how to jump up for a high ball, because he has just shown literally, Queensland have shown how to beat. I know I said this a few weeks ago, but Queensland have shown how to beat Penrith this year. I'll say this now: Penrith will not win the comp this year, because they shut down Cleary and they shut down LOI just by getting up with that quick outside speed and waiting for Yo to ball play, forcing him to have to tuck it and run. And instead of rushing up early when Yo's got the ball, waiting for him to pass the ball and see what he does, and they show him how to do that. Now teams are going to bomb Tahoe and get through and jump in the air. I can't wait to play Penrith again, to be honest.
Well, when the Knights played Penrith, that's how we scored most of our tries, because it was him and Dom Young. Dom Young didn't even have to jump.
Yeah. I mean,
and
if the Knights can do it, anyone can do it.
Hey.
I think what last night showed is if South can get back to full strength in this run home, for mine they're the team that beats. But we'll get onto the NRL next week. I'm going to share this graphic now with everyone, the team, as they bring it up. Now, this is where you copped a bit of criticism again that I said I've copped it from pillar to post. And what I'm going to do here in this segment is let you two basically go into and ask me questions and that about this lineup and your opinions on the lineup. I'll run through it quickly for the podcast listeners. So this is the Australian side that I believe would get chosen. Now, I know there's some players here who would choose to play with Samoa, things like that. I get that. It's about the form players throughout the Origin series and putting them into a combined team to represent Australia if there was a test match to be played this weekend. So fullback, I got Reece Walsh. The wingers, I got Brian To'o and Murray Tuolangi. Centre pairing is Valentine's Holmes and Hemiso Tabuai-Fidow. I got Munster and Cherry Evans are your halves. Ruben Cotter, Payne Haas are your props. Ben Hunt starting at hooker. I've got David Fafita, Jeremiah Nanai, and Patrick Carrigan as your back row and lock. Your bench is Harry Grant, Lindsay Collins, Tino Fa'a, Suamala Awi, and Liam Martin. So, Adam, I've included your cousin, Liam, so I hope you be a bit nicer to me than some of these comments have today. But to be fair, I'll quickly talk about it. And the comments a lot this today has been about not having Cameron Murray there. And the reason I didn't include Cameron Murray is because he was played out of position the first two, and I think because of that, he didn't have much of an impact. Last night, he was a star, no doubt about that. But I think if we look at the overall series side of it, there was better players in their actual positions throughout the lineups. But Jez, what do you think about this lineup? What changes would you make?
Well, apart from To'o, because he won't play for Australia. But as you said,
here we go. Another one. This is
picked on the inform players from Origin, so I understand the premise. No, I quite like it. I think Liam Martin was a bit harsh not to make the starting side, but to have him there as an impact player was pretty good. Payne Haas, I'm not sure if I'd have him. Who would I replace him with? Can't think off the top of my head. Probably Adam Martin in the 10.
After his zinger.
I'm too soft to play front row.
Yeah. I think Munster. He, based on his series, he didn't have a Munster series. Not that we know that he can play to. So if we were looking at just the 3 games that we watched in Origin, it hurts to say this, but I might have Moses in the halves. I thought he controlled the tempo of the game really well, even playing with Cody Walker. He directed New South Wales with the kicking, which left Walker to do the attack and get them in good position. So I think if we have 2 really dominant halves, and again, this is just based on the series that Munster had and comparing them for this only, that might be my change. I'm not a Parramatta supporter, by the way. Fuck Mitchell Moses.
Yeah, he isn't.
You're getting close to it. Do you want me to bring your jersey soon? I've got a few spares. You're getting close.
I need to broke one of my rules there, but I'll allow it. He didn't play 5/8 in the series, Moses, but I'll allow you that one change. That's fine.
Same.
So I'll cop it. Yeah, I'll cop it. Adam,
I was going to say I don't think Munster had a good enough series, so I feel like Walker in 1 game and Moses in 2 games did more than Munster did, so I'd bring either of them into 5/8. Walsh, obviously there. I guess probably only the other change is I'd take Valentine Holmes or the hammer out and put Damien Cook in the centres. Thought he was awesome there in game 2. But no,
it was a bold strategy. It was a bold strategy not playing him in centre.
His centres are there. Tahoe's there based on the fact that obviously Queensland made those other changes to the wings and stuff. The New South Wales centres weren't good enough or injured. Look, it's probably a bit harsh on Lindsay Collins not having him starting, since I've already said he should be player of the series. So Haas probably has to drop out there, and Haas can go.
I thought Haas. Yeah, I thought Haas was our best forward for the first 2 games. That's the reason I've included him there.
Yeah, he's on the bench. He's on the bench. We'll give him a bench spot. I'd probably have Martin starting over Nene. Once again, I think Nene looked a bit better performing there based on what he did. And look, probably going to drop Tino out. I'm probably going to drop Tino out altogether, to be honest, to bring Cam Murray in.
Hines is in 18. Hines is 18 forever and always.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. You're picking a form team, but let's be honest, the actual Australian team is going to look nothing like that because it's picked on who you are, not what you've done again. So Teddy will be the fullback.
Yeah. Now the next one will also be a graphic show. We're just going above and beyond.
Where are you going? Leaps and bounds you're going with these graphics, aren't you?
I know. I can't believe it. So
like till the celebration videos.
Did you work today?
No, I did. I didn't work today. So hard some time to play around, but I'll basically just apply to hate all day on Facebook. So thanks, guys, for keeping me busy. Who wants to go first with our last one? So it's our New South Wales Game 1 lineup for 2024. So next year, we'll also include the coach we believe will be coaching him. So the changes for us for New South Wales next year. Who's putting their hand up?
Look, you can put mine up first if you can find mine. You've got him there, see, whatever.
But Jez asked first. I'm putting Jez up.
Okay, that's fine. But what would be cool is if you work on your graphics and do these 1 by 1, player by player, and do this one where their junior club is. Can you work on that, please?
I said I had a day off, not a whole week. Jesus Christ. It's hard not doing these things.
M. Tatey would have got it done, mate. He would have got it done for sure.
All right, I might have my red and blue glasses on for a couple of these, but
before you go through your team, did you just say that Tyson Frizzell will never play another game again and you picked
him? Yeah. Well, did I? Can't remember. It's too long ago.
I want to start this officially, please, Jez. And for the podcast listeners, please list your 1 to 17.
All right. So I've got Latrell Mitchell in at fullback, Brian To'o and Tom Travojevic on the wings. Matt Burton, he's getting a start in my team. I love Matt Burton. Burton Bomb, bring it back. And Bradman Best are in the centres. Based on last night, I've got Cody Walker and Nathan Cleary in the halves. Gerbo in at 8. Appy Coruscant is starting hooker. I've got Regan Campbell-Gillard in the 10. Liam Martin and Tyson Frizzell in the 11 and 12. Cam Murray, he deserves his spot. He played so well. And then on the bench, I've got Mitch Moses. He can cover a lot of positions. So there's my backup hooker as well. And then I've got Jacob Safidi because I thought he was quite impactful. Isaiah Yeo off the bench just to run forward. And then I did have a go at saying this. Kian Kalogamatangi. Was I close?
Yeah, good on you. You take that. That was good.
That's it. I thought he was fantastic.
No one can correct you because no one else could say it. So
he's an Origin player. He was great. And my coaches, they've settled their feud. They're actually meeting this week, if you read the tabloids, to do it. It's the Johns brothers. They're gonna be at the helm for this, and we're gonna sweep Queensland.
Is that a family reunion they'll meet at? Are you invited or?
Oh yeah, I'm there. I'm there on the side. For 18th, I've got either Gutho or Hines. Hines forever 18th man, but I think I wanted to get Gutho in there, but I couldn't have too many Parramatta players.
You could have started
just to give everyone a bit of notice about this, a heads up about behind the scenes work. Well, I gave this as homework for the boys, and we all got it done. And I think Jez wrote his on the back. He was at a pub when he did it because it looked like he wrote on the back of a beer coaster. So
he's just a classic teacher, isn't he? He's had to write it on.
Well, I was writing it, and my son came over and borrowed my pen. And for the viewers, he decided to just explode it on me. So yeah, cheers, Otis.
So, let's quickly dissect this one. Do this in a few minutes, and anyone that points out, I think we've already touched on the fact that you said Tyson Brazil won't play another Origin game, so we won't go there again for you. I'll ask you about Moses on the bench. I think that's an interesting one because personally, it just looks like he can cover the halves for me. What position do you think he can cover?
Jeremy,
that's your team.
Yeah, well, Appy can play 80 minutes, but then, like every good halfback, they should be able to play hooker as well. And I've got Mitch Moses covering many positions on that bench, just for that impact as well. Just based on Walker's game last night, he's in the form of his career, and it just keeps Mitch Moses in the system. I don't want Mitch Moses to drop out of the New South Wales system. He deserves to be there. And I'm basing this on, Walker's probably only going to play next series and then he might be done. Although he signed for, I think he's got a couple of years left. But anyway.
25, apparently.
Yeah. So
I don't think he'll last that long. I think they'll chip you off.
He's 33, so he's 34 next year.
He debuted at 26, though, and everyone's going, he debuted so late that he can keep playing, but he did a lot of hard yards locally in the Queensland Cup and stuff before he actually made it. So
he did, like fine wine, he is aging well. But yeah, I've got Mitch Moses in there to cover many positions, and I think he can be my backup hooker when needed.
And fans, as you're watching, if you have any questions about each of our lineups, please post them in, and we'll get them on the go. But Ads, you got anything about this lineup?
No, let's go to mine.
Perfect.
I think Tommy Turbo's done. In my opinion.
But this is like if he's fit, like this is all hypotheticals.
I'm with you, Jez. Don't worry, I'm with you.
Yeah, he's done. Put a line through.
All righty, let's get this done here.
Let's
pick this one apart. So now we're moving on to Adams here, guys. Live TV, it's fantastic stuff, especially when you don't really have much technology skills.
Slow clap or?
No, we're up. So
what about before we get into this, at the Bulldogs game when they were getting pumped by the Knights, what were they doing in that far corner, Adam?
The Viking clap. The Viking clap out of nowhere. And most of the crowd was like, this is great. I don't know why. I think they were obviously trying to find himself a finals team.
That was finding a new team. It was great. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Look, I've gone Clint Gutherson at fullback. The reason I've gone Clint Gutherson at fullback is not because I believe he should be there over other players, but I think Teddy's done. I think by having Gutho in the system and having him on that bench last night, they've essentially indicated that Gutho is the next choice fullback, ahead of Dylan Edwards and obviously ahead of other players. So that's why I've got him there, given the fact that hopefully Teddy steps away from rep football. Number 2, Brian Tahoe. As I said earlier, He needs to learn how to catch a high ball, but the work he does out of trouble, he is good and he's a good finisher. Number 3, a fit Latrell Mitchell, which is what we need to see. Probably could have been the difference in the Origin series this year. Number 4, which I never thought I'd say, but based on the performances last night, is Bradman Best. Thought superb. I've already given her a wrap. I'm not going to say anything else because he plays for the Knights. Number 5, Campbell Graham. We're really struggling to find a decent winger, to be honest. New South Wales really need to wait for that next winger to come through. I don't know who it's going to be, honestly. We seem to have a few really good young centres coming through, especially some not considered, but is it Tago from Penrith who was considered, Richard Penasini? Sorry, Richard, I'm watching the under-19s here. Obviously, Will Penasini, who wasn't considered, but could obviously play on the wing as well, centre. But Campbell Graham, I think he probably would have been there if it wasn't for injuries this year. Number 6, I've gone Mitchell Moses. And number 7, I've gone Nathan Cleary. I think we need to start looking towards that future. That can be a 5 or 6 year combination. As good as Walker was last night, I think they both deserve to be there. And with Cleary controlling the team and with his, I guess, kicking game from inside the 50 and Moses' long kicking game, I don't think they're ever going to have any problems. I've got Jake Turbo starting in the front row. I just like the energy and the passion he brings to the jersey. Never has a bad game. Won't always stand out, but won't do anything wrong. I've got Damien Cook, the beach sprinter, there at 9. Once again, he can play 80. Appy,
and he can play in the centres.
He can, 100%. Look, it was a hard one when I've done this for because I put him there. It was hard to pick a hooker because you could have Appy, Robson, or him. I don't think Robson's going to be an 80-minute hooker in Origin. Appy's getting on a bit and Cook just having some of those players there, Kalmatangi as well, which I've got obviously Spuller right there in the second row. I think he needs to be there. Reg, for other front row, Origin player. Liam Martin, New South Wales best forward. Kalmatangi. Have I nailed that twice in a row?
Yes, you have.
Yeah, wonderful. Second row. Dude, he's a big boy, eh? He's a naturally huge boy. Like, when he had his shirt off, I was looking at yesterday. It's not all muscle either. He's just naturally built. Cam Murray at 13. As I said, Isaiah Yeo, not an Origin player. Cody Walker at 14. Now, before you ask this question, obviously I reversed it to Jeremy. Cody Walker, I'd be a lot more confident with playing 9. I know Mitch has worked a lot on his defence in the last few years, but I know for me, Cody Walker's got that Origin aggression that would help him there. Cody Walker is a very good fullback as well. So he can come on and play fullback. I know Moses can as well, but so I've got Cody there as a 14, and I think he deserves to be in that team just based off what he did last night. And then Isaiah Yeo to play front row, Payne Haas and Spencer Laniu. So that can obviously change around. You can bring Isaiah into a lock and obviously move the second rowers and stuff as well. So that's it. Do we do an 18th man?
Yeah.
Jake
you need to say your coach as well.
Yeah, my coach. Well, it's not who I'd have, but it looks like it's who's going to be the coach next year. By all rumours, is Boyd Cordner. Apparently, a lot of the players, which I'm guessing is probably led by Nathan Cleary because he runs the team, and all the Penrith players do. So apparently, they want Boyd Cordner there, which would indicate that I'm completely wrong, and James Sesko will be the fullback and captain of New South Wales next year. Yippee, yippee, get your money on Queensland.
Josh, listening, I'll put your lineup on after we go through ours because I think that's a pretty interesting one as well. But Jez, what do you want to go pick through with this one? I'll let you go first.
No, I like Campbell Graham. I have the same problem trying to pick a winger. It's really hard to find a decent New South Wales winger apart from Brian Toto. But yeah, as I said, I like Gutherson there. I just couldn't pick him in my team because I can't have too many Parramatta players in there. I already had Reid and Campbell-Gillard. I really enjoyed what you said about Cody Walker being in 14 because, yeah, I agree. I think that might be I picked mine based on, form. I like that you're looking towards the future, and I really like that halves combination of Moses and Cleary. And, yeah, Jake Trbojevic, he has to be in your team. I think he's first picked just for passion. Bradman Best, a close second for passion. His press conference where he said, I just want to punch Queenslanders in the face was fantastic. So
much better than his dad's post-match interview that couldn't spare a sentence to get.
How good was that? They were struggling so bad without the players talking to them that they were...
Just interviewed Bradman Best's dad.
Let's go down and talk to Thurston. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have beers. Yeah. All right, cool. Let's talk to Gallen.
Bring back the players talking, I say. Painful listening at times.
Good team. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I can't say too much about that at all. So that's well done, mate. Yeah, I wish I put
Adam's always been a good coach, though. You know.
Yeah.
Those who can't teach.
That's why you were terrible at school and now you're a teacher.
As I go to bring mine up, I'll ask you one question on that lineup. What about Tom Trbojevic? You were saying before you think he's done. What was that?
I just think he owes it to Manly, to be honest. He's on what? He's on $1.2 million a year. I know you brought out those players the other day. He's on about $1.2 million a year, and he can't play more than 5 or 6 games a season. So I don't think he needs to be focusing on Origin football. If I was a Manly fan, I'd want him to step away from Origin football. I'm not saying he can be completely done, but look at Ponga. There's obviously a lot more to that. Ponga essentially stepped away as well from his Origin football this year when he could have been called into the team to concentrate on the Knights. And I'm not a Knights fan, but if I was, I'd be freaking stoked for that. I'm stoked for my mates that support the Knights because they're $1.4 million player a season and he's concentrating on the team. And for me, I'm always a team over Origin man. So much more passionate about obviously my team than anything else. So I just think that's why he's done. He needs to focus on that and concentrate on playing regular football.
Well answered. Josh mentions as well in the comments, just keep Freddie as coach, bring Cordner in as an assistant. So have Ivan as part of his game day assistants. Well, Ivan was there yesterday. It randomly just popped up out of nowhere. So no doubt Nathan probably got a good word in for Daddy and got him in the coach's box.
It came out today. Apparently, Freddie actually went to him for some advice. So obviously he's pretty well respected in the game. He's obviously done quite a lot. So.
And Boyd's in there. Boyd's already in the system. He'd be one of the many assistant coaches already. So
I forgot to add, I'd still have Nathan Brown involved in some way. He was my smoky to coach the Origin team, as I said when we did it a few weeks ago. But I'd love to see him involved because, like you said, he's proven to be a good coach, but obviously hasn't been able to step it up to the NRL. He's done it overseas and stuff with St Helens. He's won a comp over there and that. So I'd love to see, if we're looking for that full-time coach with a bit of experience, he'd be the person I'd go with. But by all rumours, is going to be Cordner. So.
All right, moving on to my side, and the day I played, I'll probably get smashed for this as well, so bring it on. Latrell Mitchell at fullback. I think it's time to move on from Teddy and start a new phase for the New South Wales Blues. I like the fact that we've got a few Sasini players in here, so the connection will definitely be there for mine. And I think Latrell's time to shine at that level after missing, by that stage, probably 2 years of State of Origin football. Brian Toto and Josh Adokar on the wings. I just think for mine, if Josh Adokar can show that sort of form last night, then he's definitely very, very valuable to the team. It's just going to be a worry about his form for next year for the early parts. I think Bradman Best definitely just deserves his centre spot. He's got that locked in for a while. Tom Trbojevic, as sort of Jez has said in the past, previously, I think if he can stay fit, he'll be an asset to this blue side. It's been a big loss over the last 2 years. I think Mitchell Moses and Cleary for the exact same reasons that Adam has said. I think no doubt Cook was sensational last night. I just worry about the age factor and how much longer he has left. I'd rather see New South Wales now continue with this strong halves pairing for years to come. We've seen Queensland, when they're at their strongest, have players like a combination of Cronk and Thurston, who at the time would start with both halfbacks, and it worked fine. So I've got no doubt this sort of combination can work for years to come. Regan Campbell-Gillard, Payne Haas as my props. Damien Cook, the centre playing hooker out of position, but that should be fine. He should be able to handle it. Liam Martin, Kaloa Matangi is my back rowers. I think they're both just too good this year to leave out. Cameron Murray's the lock. I think he's got that spot wrapped up now. Matt Burton is my 14. I'd like to see him go back to that. I think he's one of our best 14s we've got in the state. Isaiah Yeo as a bench forward as well, just playing that pure prop role. I thought he was real good in that first stint last time. I'm not even bother with Ola Kawatu as my other bench. I think his time to shine is next year. He's coming up. He's been talked about now. I can see him starting to get blooded off the bench. And Spencer Leniu for mine should have been there this year, so it'd be great to see him come in and just be a firecracker for probably that 20, 30-minute stint that we've all been asking for this year. Boys, bring it on. Come on.
It's just Josh Adokar for mine. Like,
Yeah.
he had one good game where the other two is really quiet, and he's been dreadful for the Dogs. So that would be my only question marks. But we run into the same problem of who do you replace?
It's just no winger. Yeah. That's that was my issue. I didn't want to put someone out of position too much. Like I think Campbell Graham, and I thought about it today, he might end up being the new Croker for this generation where he just couldn't get into that Blues side. It just feels like at the moment there's always players in his way, and now Bradman Best is definitely ahead as well. So it's a tough one. It'd be nice if a young winger can stand up over the next 12 months. I mean, Suoliti was looking like that player, but I think he'll be off to rugby by then. So
he'll be off to
the All Blacks.
He'll be off to touch the ball 3 times a game. Look, for me, I think Latrell's an Origin centre. I think he's. I don't think he's a fullback. I never have thought he was a fullback. Like, I'll be very surprised if he plays fullback the whole season at South Sydney next year. I reckon he'll end up moving the centres and White will go to fullback. But I'd have Latrell on the centres. As I said earlier, Tommy's done. Adokar, he's done. So I'm just picking a team apart here. And Matt Burton, I don't get why everyone loves Matt Burton. I know he's got the Burton bomb, but he's not a halfback. He's not a 5'8". He's a centre. And I know he plays halfback 5'8" at the Bulldogs, but he hasn't really done anything there besides put up some really big kicks. Like, his best football was at Penrith in the centres. So by having him,
but that's why I've got him there, because he offers coverage for the halves if we need it, and then he's got the backline coverage as well. So I just think he's pretty valuable.
Yeah,
there.
I get that. But
I had him picked in the centres.
Yeah.
Would you have someone like? Would you have Gutho at 14 over him that can cover fullback, centre, wing,
probably
hooker?
Probably, and give him more game time in 3.5 minutes. So
yeah, exactly right. Like you run the same risk by having Matt Burton there at 14. He might never get on the field. And that's same by having Cook there. I know I had not Cook there, Walker there as well. He might never get on the field, but you got to have a game plan if you're going to carry these 14s to get them on. Like, there's no reason they couldn't have put Gutho on at lock last night to inject him in the game. If you got Walker there, you can put Walker on at lock. You can defend him wherever you want to defend him. It doesn't really matter. Like, if you got strong enough forwards that they can defend wherever, but there's got to be more thought to that game plan of that 14 if you're going to do it. If not, the easiest way to do it is just to carry 2 hookers.
Well, that's
Jamie Cook is a centre.
Yeah, that was my question. Like, do you just have 2 hookers as the 14? There's no point. It frustrated me just seeing Gutho sitting in that jumper every time they crossed.
Well, okay, let's hypothetically say Robson wasn't there last night, right?
You got 3 interchanges. Like, that's it.
Yeah, it's dumb. And they made the wrong move in game 2 by putting Cook in the centres. Everyone knows that. They could have put Yo there in the centres, but there's so much more they could have done. Like, they could have put one of the halves to defend at fullback. They could have put Moses at fullback, for example, and put a hooker to half. Like, they just got it completely wrong. There's so many ways you can change it around if you pick the right player.
Yeah, just on this one, just on Josh's quickly, and Josh put a quick comment in there. Just why you've got Drinkwater at 1. I'm actually pretty interested in that. It's pretty much, for anyone listening on the podcast version, roughly the same sort of team we've all sort of spoke about. The biggest changes: Drinkwater fullback, Robson is your 14, and Gerbo's coming off the bench. So yeah, that's pretty much what we've all gone for as well, in a way. Just slight little changes. Drinkwater, I think he's just another one where I know he was 18th man in this one. I think that they choose their 18th man for teams who have the bye and that coming into each Origin, but I don't know if he's really in the picture. Are we talking Drinkwater as a realistic chance of playing Origin football anytime soon, we think?
Probably not. It's
I don't think so.
He's probably going to fall under the Stuart McGill category. I like to put him in.
Yeah.
Players that, if they didn't have better players in front of them, if they were from a different generation, then yeah, maybe. And I like Drinkwater.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've got the answer. Look out! Thanks, Joshy boy.
Yep.
Love
It's
your work, brother. We'll
It's
get
a
you on
cute
here.
photo too, Josh. Picture there, nice little flex.
Yeah, he's got me covered.
Yeah, I'm not trying on.
It's easy when you
Yeah,
only
Matt,
train. It's easy when you only train arms, isn't it, Josh?
surprised. What you're trying to say? You're surprised you can type. He matches Walsh for Queensland, speed out the back and offers extra ball playing. Latrell isn't an Origin fullback. Have to be constantly on the ball.
Yep.
Well, there's a bit of Adam in that, bit of us in that, bit of everything in that. So, thanks, brother. Thanks for
I
adding.
don't mind the conversation around Latrell Mitchell not being a fullback, because when you look at him, like, he doesn't look like a fullback. He doesn't move like a fullback. It's just that he's just so incredibly talented.
He's a freak. He's an absolute freak, and he's a lot like he who we can't name, who liked to involve himself rarely, but when he did, it was superb. Like, but it was so lazy back there. I think by having Latrell in the centres in Origin or in whatever, like, they're going to look to give him the ball and they're going to make him
into the game. Yeah,
correct.
But in a way, I think that might work with the way this modern day New South Wales halves pairing work. We've said all series that Teddy's been in the way because he's just basically always been there. Where I think Latrell could play into the hands then of Cleary and Moses, where let them have the ball more and let them do everything and just have Latrell chiming in here and there. It might work. Who knows? The way we've all been saying it all series, Latrell might be the type of fullback that New South Wales do need. And all teams are different with the way they want to shape things like that. But just before we go, just quickly touch on, I think there was one here from, this one on Mick. So Mickey boy loves to watch every show. Loves the support. Thank you. So he's happy for Freddie to stay as long as he makes better selections, even if someone else has a say. Alexander can get the bib off though. But so basically, I agree with part of this. I think Freddie has a lot, obviously the majority of the say in the selections though. So I'm not sure if he can swallow his pride or not. He's going to have to make some big calls throughout this Origin off season to maybe look in the mirror and see where he's made these errors and if he can fix him moving forward. I personally just think it's time to go again and with a fresh start with all the staff, basically. I didn't mention my coach, but mine would be Gus to lead from the front for the first year or two and have the Johns brothers in the background as assistants taking over after the 2-year period. That would be my way, and just freshen the place up, give it a kick start, basically, and off we go. But boys, that's it. No more Origin talk. We're going to be focusing on the NRL from now. Well done to Queensland once again. Adam, do we have a quick score update for the under-19s that us New South Wales fans can finally
Yeah, we got it.
excited?
32-14. So we won one. That's all that matters. The one that matters. One for the future.
That's all that key. Where's your Queensland spirit now?
Just what I saw was Jake Clydesdale. Looked him up. Big front rower, Canberra Raiders. Obviously player there. He's huge and he's one to watch for the future. I didn't see enough again in the Commonwealth because he's one that really caught my attention there.
Can we touch on, before we run away, Big Red?
Got waxed. How good was it?
Absolutely pummeled in his first hit up and then went and hit out the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't cry this time.
And I think it was your brother that said, do you remember that time he cried at Parramatta?
I was there for that. Look, I was there for that.
I still like him. I'm still a big fan of him.
But one of the COVID games, there was only 500 people at the game, and you could hear everything that was said that night, and they just gave it to him and he went hide, and they pretty much were calling him out to run the ball, and they got up and whacked him, and he got up crying. So he was terrible. And the boys in front who have given Jordan Rapana absolute gobful for 80 minutes to the point that Rapana walked off and just mouthed something as he was walking off, and I gave it to I won't say who I gave it to because he lives too close and I don't want him to hurt me because his whole family could hurt me. But a Canberra Raiders player who I have my mouth full the whole time about some incidents he may have done when he was playing for the Knights and some things he might have done with some hands to the eyes. So,
yeah,
great game. How good was COVID?
Yeah, I just really like that his first hit up of Origin. We had 3 of our forwards just put his teeth through the back of his head. It was great.
Are we doing multis this week? Because we haven't done multis for a while.
Yeah, sorry, no, we haven't. Have you got one ready there? Do you
I've
have
got
one
ready.
for the viewers?
It's a good.
Well,
little
you know
three-legger.
what? Go
It's a
a
good little
three-legger, and the rest we'll do as a post this week. Of
Okay, yeah,
absolutely.
just a three-legger. I've
I
come up
don't
with.
have anything.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, no, I've just been thinking
Knights
this
to
one.
win.
I was going to do it as a two-legger, but I've done it as a three-legger. And I've added one interesting because obviously I'll tell you why on the go. I've got the Knights by 30 plus against the Tigers.
30.
The Tigers are offering nothing at the moment.
Coming off some form from last week too.
Off some form, off the bye. And I don't know. I think the Tigers really struggle. I think they'll get absolutely walloped. I've got that into Parramatta by 30 plus against the Titans. I've obviously stated on the other podcast, I think Parramatta will overturn the result of last week, and we haven't really gone on with the game. I think we put 50 on the Gold Coast and end their season. I've got that into one more, which is not a 30 plus, but I've actually taken the Dolphins with the 14.5 start at $1.87 against Penrith. Penrith, the Dolphins obviously had that bit of a tough run, but they played pretty, obviously they got the win last week and they played decent against Brisbane the week before. So I think 14.5 at a home game there against a Penrith team with obviously players backing up from Origin and without Nathan Cleary is pretty disrespectful.
Nah, Cleary's confirmed.
He's playing, are you sure?
Cleary, yeah, I heard today they were talking on.
Okay, well, I'll take that back, and I'll say with a team with Cleary coming back from injury too early.
They shouldn't have their Origin stars though. I'll be surprised. They never had their Origin stars back up, so
they never back them up. Exactly right. So, and when is the game? It's of course, it's a Sunday afternoon game because of Penrith. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. The only time they play a Sunday, are they? But that's my little multi anyway. But I'll chuck it on now. But for $5 on that, it's $104.62. It's $523.12.
Well, I don't have anything.
I've got one.
Jez is look
at Knights to win, obviously. Dom Young, because he didn't get one against the Dogs. So Dom Young, anytime try scorer. And then I've got the Cowboys win with Jeremiah Nanai, anytime try scorer.
I'll do a quick one. I don't know the odds. Do you have the odds for that, Jez?
I just wrote it down then.
That's all right. Oh, good. Yeah, I'll do the same. I don't have the odds for this, but I'll do a quick one. I'll go Knights to win into Young to score, and I'll go Parra to win into Sevo to score because both wingers, when they had big wins last time, didn't score. So let's do a little bit of an omen.
You're going both of them just to genuinely win.
Yeah.
It's not worth much. Say worth $3.43.
Yeah, that's good. That's all we want. Just get the kitty up a little bit as we go.
$3.60 with the power play.
How many is Sevo ahead in try scorers?
No, they're both on 16.
He's not ahead anymore.
They're both on 16.
Love that.
Dom Young's ahead on alphabetical order.
Very good.
I can't believe we've still got viewers on this. This is fantastic. But love your support, guys. That was our multi. We'll have these all out as a post, by the way. I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll get the boys to put in the chat. And if you're around, don't criticise us either. Just gamble responsibly. But that's it, Jez. Just on a personal note, how do you think you've gone this week? Have you had enough airtime? You're happy?
Yeah, I feel like I've hit my straps at the right end of the season. I'm going to take this form. Well, basically like the Knights. I had the bye last week because Adam just went on his rant. So I'm in for a strong second half. You might even see me at semi-final time.
Oh, I think you did.
Supporting the Warriors. Maybe supporting the Knights. But we had to give him some more airtime with his fresh cut, didn't we? So
yeah. He's demanding selection. He's demanding selection at the moment, and he's been put into the run-on squad. So thanks for listening, guys. We're out of here. We've taken up